it gave me goosebumps because I used to go with my dad and there maybe be about 50 people at Meadow Park, and then suddenly I was sat there looking out at about 57,000 people thinking, whoa, people care about women's football. Welcome back to the Arsenal Humans podcast with me, Luce. I'm excited again about this episode. We've had a great weekend of football, both for the men and for the women's side, so without me waffling, let's just get straight into it. This week, the name that is on most Gooners' minds is our new striker, drumroll please, Mikel Merino, and that is exactly why the warm-up poll this week, I said, is Mikel Merino Arsenal's striker solution? And this is because we didn't sign any strikers in January for the men's side, which I have no idea why, like honestly no idea. You ask anyone, no one knows why. I mean, Arteta says it's because he was waiting for the perfect striker, but maybe after Saturday's performance, he might have already had the perfect striker just in front of him, but I don't want to get ahead of myself because it was against Leicester and they are in the relegation zone, so it's not like, I feel like a lot of people are sort of just jumping on it like, oh my god, yeah, we're good, we've got this player now, as if we're not going to be playing Forest soon, as if we've not got all these big games coming up. So let's look at the results. The results, 57% of you said yes, Mikel Merino is Arsenal's striker solution, and 43% of you said no. That's kind of shocked me. I think, oh my god, guys, I'm going to have to disagree with the poll this week, which I feel like is probably like one of the only times that I'm going to disagree. But I don't think he is our striker solution. I think he's our temporary striker solution because right now, who do we have? But I think when we've got Saka back and should be in the next few weeks, he should come back into the lineup. Probably not the starting lineup, but give it a couple months, when he's back in the starting lineup, I reckon Ethan Nwaneri would move over and try him in the central position up top because he's been performing so well recently. I feel like he is a good option for that. I don't think he's the permanent solution. I definitely think we've got to put him in against West Ham, which is coming up at the weekend. I will get onto that in the predictions section of this episode. But I think for now, Merino is a good temporary striker solution, but he is not the permanent solution. If you disagree with me, if you think he's going to be amazing for this season, let me know down in the comments. But if you're a bit more of a realistic thinker like me, thinking, yeah, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, then also let me know that, because I can't be the only one. I know a few people did message saying, yeah, he's a good solution for the next couple games, but not for the whole rest of the season. And it's frustrating because if you see Liverpool have dropped points last night and they did the week before against Everton, obviously last night was against Villa, we could be in a position where we can really exploit that and really just go for it. And I feel like we haven't been given the striker up top. Obviously Havertz is now injured as well for the rest of the season. Like, it's a bit complicated, but to conclude, my opinion is Merino is a good temporary solution, but not a good permanent solution. But he was amazing at the weekend, and I do want to chat about that because, yeah, there's a reason why he's dominating all the articles from the men's side this week, and that is because he scored 2 goals in the 2-0 performance on Saturday, so let's get into that. Arsenal scored 7 goals this weekend and we let in none. That's what we do here. That's what we do. Let's start with the first game where 2 goals were scored by us, and it was Leicester City 0, Arsenal 2. This was in the Premier League on Saturday, and you know what? I predicted a 1-0 performance, so once again, I'm not that far off. I'm not exactly bang on how I was last week. If you want to see me get really excited for basically not even that big of a thing, I got the prediction right for last week's game, or the game that was 2 weeks ago that I predicted. So you can go back to episode 15, is it? Yeah, episode 15. This is episode 16 of the Arsenal Humans podcast. Go back to episode 15 and you'll see me get the prediction right and be very happy about it. Anyways, focusing on this game, Merino is that guy that everyone's talking about. He is the guy on every Gooner's minds. I mean, he's been on my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, is he the striker? Is he not? Whether it's a good or bad thing, he's been dominating your headspace, whether you want him to or not. And he deserves full credit for that, because we've been at a time where we haven't known who should be up top. We haven't had an out-and-out striker, and maybe he could be slotting into that position. I mean, this game certainly showed it. Leicester we've got to give them a little bit of credit. They did have a couple of chances, but Arsenal pretty much dominated the whole game. And if we didn't, I'd be quite shocked, because Leicester are looking like they're getting relegated. So it would be quite humbling when we're competing for the title. We're battling out. We're getting closer and closer each week, and they're getting closer and closer to the Championship. If we didn't win, I'd be pretty shocked. But it's just good that they showed up. Waneri, I think, obviously, yeah, Merino is the guy everyone's talking about. But Waneri needs his credit, because he did hit it off the crossbar. He did also contribute to the first goal, where he basically just like dinked it over perfectly to the back post. Merino was there to just header it away. Lovely, lovely scenes. And then Trossard for the second goal. These happened pretty much within the last 15 minutes of the game, both of these goals. The second one, Trossard was down the left wing, which he's a player that you don't really see. There's a lot of debate around him or Martinelli starting on the wings, and I think especially with Saka out now, there's a lot more debate, but I think Trossard's really shown why he should be down there as well. He deserves it. He basically just crossed it over. Merino was in the right place at the right time, which is what you expect from your number 9, basically, which is what he was almost cosplaying as. He was acting as this number 9, and he just tapped it home, left foot, found the bottom right of the net. And I'm not saying he is our out-and-out striker going forward for every single game, but definitely, like I said in the warm-up poll, definitely a temporary solution. And in that game, yeah, we got the points. That's what we needed. Liverpool did draw last night against Aston Villa, which obviously I would have loved Aston Villa to have won it, but a draw is better than them getting all the 3 points. So it means that we are now second. We are 8 points behind Liverpool, but we do have a game in hand. So once we play West Ham, and hopefully, touch wood, hopefully we get the 3 points, then it means that we're only 5 points behind them. So in my head, the Premier League is still achievable, but we don't want to rush those thoughts, because we do have the Champions League to focus on as well. And obviously this striker solution has only just come out in the last week, so it's not really something that we can see lasting too long. But for the moment, I'm staying optimistic. Another reason why I'm very optimistic this weekend, moving away from the men's game, focusing on the women's game, was the North London derby that happened on Sunday. And oh my god, North London is red. We already knew that was going to happen, but I did not expect it to happen in this way. 5 goals. I mean, it came from an own goal. You had Caldenti, Mornan, Russo. But the goal that I really want to focus on, which we already had won it was already 4-0 at this point. We already knew we had it. But she just thought, why not? Emily Fox, literally from so far out. I mean, if you watch videos of Russo's reaction, she was just as shocked and as happy as all of us Gooners sat in the stands. But she just basically, it was just like it was flying over. It just flew into the top left corner. And yeah, what a way to make, what a way to seal a 5-0 victory. I mean, not only was the score impressive, we made sure that the North London derby was ours once again. I mean, in the history of it, Spurs have only won once, which happened last season, and that was at their ground. So they've never actually won it at the Emirates or at Meadow Park. Whatever our home ground is, they've never actually won it. So I'm happy that we managed to keep that stat up. But we had that big result. We got the 3 points, which means that we're in third place, just 3 points behind United. And I reckon we could at least come second this season. I'm not thinking first for the women's, but I'm thinking we could come second at least, because points always fluctuate. I mean, City are only 3 points behind us, so it's always fluctuating. But the thing I also want to point out is 56,000 people were there to watch North London remain red. And people say women's football is boring. No one cares about it. People do care about it. And honestly, it gave me goosebumps, because I was very, very lucky. I was there with Pixel. I was there in the Google Pixel box, which I'm very grateful for. It was literally, as my little Gooner heart was so, so happy, just being sat there on those red comfy chairs. But then when I looked out, because normally I'm down at the bottom, which the atmosphere is unreal when you're within the crowd, but so this was like a completely different feel. But normally I'm in it, so I'm sort of looking around, but I'm so zoned in that you can't really see too far above, and you don't really look at the bigger picture, if that makes sense. Whereas being sat up there in the box, I looked round and I was like, wow, like it gave me goosebumps, because I used to go with my dad and there maybe be about 50 people at Meadow Park, and then suddenly I was sat there looking out at about 57,000 people, thinking, whoa, people care about women's football. This is good. People care about Arsenal, and it's only at Arsenal it really happens, you know. So yeah, it was just a really, really good game. Really good day out, really good vibes from everyone, and I wasn't expecting it to be that high of a score. I predicted a 3-0, and they just exceeded that expectation. And it makes me excited going into this international break, because the women won't be playing this week, but the men will still be. But the women won't be. I think it's giving us a lot of momentum going into that. And most of our Gooners will be participating in different games over this week. So it'll be good to see them playing, but also then when they return to Arsenal, be like, yeah, this is what we're about. We know what we're about. So I'm very excited about them returning, but also think they deserve that break after that performance. And overall, unreal weekend to be a Gooner. So let's get into this weekend's game, which is actually just one game. It is the men. And before I say who we're playing, let's get into the prediction. Okay, predictions is actually just one prediction this week, because like I said in that little Let's Chat section, we only have the men playing this week because women are on their international break. So make sure you're obviously watching all the Gooners wherever they're playing this week. But focusing on just Arsenal men, we are playing West Ham on Saturday in the Premier League. It is a 3 p.m. kickoff. It is also a home game. And I'm going to go straight out. I'm going to predict it to be 3-1 win. I think it's really tricky, because if you look at where we are in the league, you think, right, Arsenal are going to batter them. Arsenal are unreal. We're going to do amazing. We're going to keep that clean sheet. We're going to get loads of goals. But if you look at the history of West Ham and Arsenal, it's so up and down. Yes, we're going to win. We better win. But I don't think it's going to be a clean sheet. I don't think it's going to be the easiest game, because they do have players that they just show up against us. But because when you look at them, they're safe. Like, they're staying up. If you look at the points difference between them and Wolves, who are basically on the brink of relegation, but maybe not, the bottom four are kind of, it's between them, whereas West Ham are in 16th, so they're just there, but they're not getting relegated because they're like 10, 15 points ahead anyway, something like that. So this isn't a game that they have to win, but you know that they will be wanting to win because they want to make sure they're completely safe. But it's a game for us that we have to win. If we want to narrow that gap with Liverpool to 5, then, So overall, I'm thinking, if we actually want to win the Premier League, if we actually want to take this league seriously, we'll win this game easy. But I'm not in that change room. I'm not on that pitch. I don't know what the morale is going to be like, but I'm hoping after the 2-0 win, and with Merino up top for this West Ham game, he's got to be up top for this West Ham game, then should be okay. Obviously, we don't know future games, but just focusing purely on Saturday, I'm going to say 3-1 win. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that happens. We are already at the end of this episode, and I feel like it's gone kind of quick. I feel like we've only had a couple games to reflect on and one game to look ahead to, but I will be back on Monday. So actually, this is going out, it's Thursday today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'll be back in 4 days to reflect on that one game and then look ahead to the next week, because it's just how life's worked out. Might start doing them on Mondays, but I'll keep you guys updated on that. But for now, thanks for watching. If you did like it, please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up, and on Spotify as well, we'll be getting these weekly episodes out on there. So if you want to hear it instead, if you're not as much of a visual, I know for me, I prefer to watch things as well as listen. So like, YouTube's a good vibe when I'm chilling at home, but if I'm on the train, if I'm on my way to work or something like that, then I know a podcast is good. So yeah, completely up to you. We're on both platforms. So over here at the Arsenal Humans, I'm saying we as if it's not just me doing everything. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye.